Michael Sheridan here. Welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show all about your dreams and their meanings. We have already had 20 shows with me just interpreting your dreams, and one theme that comes up frequently is that of channeling. So this week I want to break out of the box a little, and I have with me in studio Heidi Brooke, who is a professional channel. I had advertised that Jackie Campbell would be joining me, but unfortunately she is ill with bronchitis. So Jackie, I know you're listening in from bed at home, and I do wish you a speedy recovery, and we will have that interview in the near future. You're not getting out of it. It is still a dream interpretation show, so if you want your dream done, send it to me at radioshow@dream-analysis.com. If you want to come on air with a dream or with a question for Heidi, you can phone the station on 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527. You can find all these details and more, including archives of previous shows, on my website at dream-analysis.com/kknw. Thank you, Heidi, for filling in at such short notice. I'm sure you haven't had time to think about what you're going to say. And in the interest of transparency, I have to say that Heidi's my daughter. And in fact, Heidi is responsible for the family moving back to the US in 2011. So welcome to the show, Heidi.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I love that you brought that up, because about 4 years ago, when I was channeling on where I wanted to live, I find that the most profound channeling that I've ever done. It was right after I had my firstborn son, and I received a phone call from my uncle who had kidney failure, and he was on dialysis for about 5 years. And we knew he didn't have much longer to live if he was going to stay on dialysis. And it was then that I asked my guides, well, maybe I could be a kidney donor for him. And immediately they said yes. There was no doubt in my mind that I wouldn't be a match. And so I said it to him almost in the same instant that I got it on the phone. And I think he was kind of blown away. So was I, actually. And it was then that I explained it to you and the rest of the family that this is something I wanted to do, and that I wanted to move back to America. And almost that night we had all made a decision that we're going to come here. But interestingly as well, he doesn't live in Seattle, but there was such a draw to Seattle that brought us here. I think a lot of people in the metaphysical community feel that also.
Yeah, I in fact, that was a subject I wasn't sure if you'd be happy with me bringing it up, because, I'm obviously very proud of the fact that you donated a kidney, but you're very sensitive to it being brought up. And I remember we arrived in Seattle, and I thought it was just going to be the place where we were here while the operation was being performed and you recovered, and we would then find somewhere else to move to in the States. But I absolutely fell in love with Seattle right from the outset. The people here are just like the Irish in so many ways. I mean, there are big differences, but the openness and everything is just fantastic. But you make it sound like it's very easy, but you had to work on us to get us to come here. So it wasn't quite as easy as all that.
Well, I knew that night that we would definitely be moving over here.
Yeah.
It was just through visions and talking to my guides about what would be the best decision for the family as a whole.
So, okay, and it has been the best decision, has worked out really well. And of course, that was in the midst of everything still going down the toilet all around the world globally. People are only aware of it here happening in America, but it happened everywhere.
Yes.
So first of all, will you take calls and can people phone in?
Certainly. If somebody wants to phone in with a question, I'm more than willing to answer.
Great. And all your details will be available on my website after the show for anyone who wants to contact you later. And I suppose, obviously, when you're channeling, do people need to ask you questions, or can you get information anyway?
I always find it best when people ask questions, and certainly the guides and guardian angels appreciate it when they do. It gives the people who are receiving the reading more control over that, and it creates more openness. You know, I always say half or at least 80% of the reading is the perception of the person getting the reading, and so it's important to feel like you have control over what's being said to you.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Although I quite often don't know the questions to ask. So.
And I find a lot of people get nervous, especially if it's their first reading or even certainly their second, or if they have pressing questions. But once they ask a few questions that they don't find that are extremely vital to find the answers to right away, I find they become more comfortable, and the guides and guardian angels help with that also, creating an open environment and creating a space where they're more perceptive to receive the answers.
You keep mentioning guardian angels, so is that who you connect with when you channel?
Yes, primarily I connect with my guardian angels and guides, and I chose them specifically before I was born because they are able to create a channel and communication with other guides and guardian angels of other people on the earth plane. And I call them guides. A lot of people just call them angels or spirits or spirit guides. But personally, I just refer to them as my own guardian angels or guides.
And they're all the one?
Yes.
Do you ever connect with somebody's deceased relative directly, or do you?
More often here I do. I find I do psychic fairs on Saturdays, and I find nearly everybody that comes to me is coming because they want to communicate with a passed on loved one. And I find it interesting when they do come to me because it's something I never really thought that I would want to do. But I find the messages from people who have recently passed on or even within the last decade, they come through a lot clearer than sometimes even messages directly from the guardian angels. And I think it's because their energy is still so much in tune with the earth energy.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I think we have a caller already. We have Deborah in Seattle. Hi, Deborah. I have to put on my headphones, of course. So, Deborah, are you calling with a question for Heidi? Or do you
Yes.
have to? Okay, great. Yeah, go
Hi,
ahead.
Deborah.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Did you
Okay,
have a
good.
question for me?
Yes, my question is basically about my dog. I love my dog, and he developed arthritis. He's only 8 years old, but he had a tendon injury that he had surgery on, and apparently he developed arthritis. So I've been trying some alternate methods, like I'm giving him special herbs that I've learned about from the naturopathic vet, and I may do acupuncture. He seems to be getting better with the herbs. But I guess my main question is, should I do the acupuncture? And is my dog ever going to be, I believe there is healing available.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's arthritis or cancer or whatever. So I guess I'm just wondering, is my dog going to be healed from arthritis so he can be a regular dog again and run and have fun?
Well, immediately before you finished that question, they came in and they said that he won't be free from arthritis, but he'll certainly be comfortable with it.
Okay.
And also, I don't know if you have started already, but have you looked at the diet that the dog is eating? Have you decided to change that? Because I feel like they're saying that you're on the right path with that, but that's something that you definitely need to implement as well as if you were going to seek acupuncture.
Oh, good. Yes, I've just started checking into the diet part of it.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of the aches and pains that he feels will be alleviated with the diet. And,
Thank you.
And especially with the acupuncture will almost complement that, but the diet is first and foremost.
Okay,
so I guess I wonder what is the reason he wouldn't be healed?
It's just progressed so much in his body that it's, sometimes our bodies come to a point where irreversible damage is caused. And that's, unfortunately, in his case, that's what's occurred. But he could certainly live a fulfilling life with monitored pain and everything, but he won't be 100% cured.
Okay.
It's just something more you'll have to keep it in check constantly.
Okay, thanks.
You. Okay,
thanks for
Thank
that,
you for your
Deborah.
question.
We now have Laura in Bellevue. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
Heidi, I would like to ask, I have been informed through dreams and through people that I am a medium, and I'd like to ask what your suggestion is for the best way to develop this ability.
Do you ever remember instances of when you were channeling as a young child, I'm going to say around 7, between the ages of 5 and 7?
No, I don't remember.
Do you remember your childhood?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, your guides are saying for you specifically, and people channel different ways, but mostly when you're a medium, we use a certain part of our brain, and we've designed kind of when we were in the womb, our baby bodies to maintain this open channel, which is why we call ourselves channels.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've had that. And I see that when you were in, as I said, the ages of 5 and 7, there was some instances where you might have called it intuition yourself, but you were very aware of what other people were feeling.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And that was you channeling then. And if you can remember those feelings of intuition and what other people are, almost you could see what other people were thinking is what they're saying.
Yes, yes.
If trying to get back there, what were you doing differently then? But for you, it's more about meditation and remaining positive. That's what they said. And when I say meditate, I don't mean you have to religiously go to yoga every Sunday night. No, nothing like that. I just mean take 10 minutes for yourself. Go to your room, go to your space, and just meditate on what do you feel? How do you open up your heart? How do you open up yourself? Because the messages come to you when you're open, just like when you were 5 years old. And you've kind of lost that a little bit, just through life being hard, because, life is hard and difficult at times. And you need to just kind of break away your own walls. It's your own walls that you need to break through, and you'll do that through meditation.
Oh, that's wonderful, because I've gotten into meditation in the past 6 months, and I love it.
Great. Well, then that's what you need to do. Keep it up, because it will come to you. And it's they're describing it for you specifically. They're calling it like a reckoning. I don't know what does that mean anything to you?
Not immediately, but I'm sure it will come.
Yes. And it will be soon, actually. I see that you set a goal for New Year's.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so it will come before then. It's certainly by New Year's.
I would take a reckoning to mean that you can't escape it.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Laura.
Bye-bye now.
And now we have Jackie in Maryland.
Hi, Jackie. This is Heidi. And you were in, as I said, ages of 5 and 7.
Okay. Can you turn down your radio, Jackie? We're getting feedback here.
I wanted to hear the answer, but I guess I have to read the archive.
Okay. So go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, okay. I had a dream recently about being on an elevator, and it went from the first floor to the 10th floor to the 20th floor, and it kept accelerating, went to the 30th and 45th floor, and you know how they have the display panel on elevators?
Yeah.
So I was looking at that, and there was this skywriting, it was going up to all these levels, and I said to myself in the dream, I guess I better brace myself. And so what was going on that probably triggered the dream, I decided to do a workshop. And I wanted to do a workshop on helping people understand the importance of dreams and take it from there. But I have a feeling that it needs to go bigger or, something more, what's the word I want to use? Well, I shouldn't focus just on dreams, but it should be bigger.
More,
so
encompassing. Yeah, that's understandable. So if just looking at the dream, moving up in an elevator like that, and especially accelerating, the dream is trying to activate your spiritual side. So what you got from the dream is correct. It is trying to open you up to doing something spiritual.
Okay.
And of course, spiritual is something that's at your core. It's not necessarily something that we would all relate to as communications with spirit or anything like that, but it frequently is that. So in this case, it's saying, you should get into that. And just because it came to you in a dream might be why you're saying, okay, dreams are important and it should be about dreams. But I would say more for you, it's a direct connection and doing something directly that is spiritual, that comes from you with people, rather than asking people what their dreams are and here's how you're going to get information from dreams. But
okay. Okay.
Maybe Heidi has something she can add to that.
Okay.
Michael's the dream interpreter, but your guides do come in when they say it's something to do with your age. Did you just have a birthday recently?
It's next month.
It's next month. And is this a big one for you?
62.
62. Yeah. And
I can retire earlier.
Oh, there we go. So it's not the dream itself, but what your guides are saying is that you wanted to reach a certain level before or certainly by this age. And so you're doing everything you can or that you think is possible to reach enlightenment, basically, but you're not really there yet.
Oh, okay.
What you need to do is more understand yourself better. That's what they're saying. Is I don't think you fully understand yourself emotionally, is what they're saying. And so, and it's not even that you don't understand. It's more that you don't respect your own emotions. And I think once you start accepting yourself, that you will reach a space where you're more inclined to reach enlightenment. Not that you won't, but it's just more working on yourself.
Okay, great. Because I know when I saw like the 45th level, it said under construction. So that's probably interesting. Very good. Okay, I will do that.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so some of those people ask questions. I have a list of questions I made out for you, and you wouldn't let me show them to you because you said it wouldn't be spontaneous enough. But
Yes.
So some of them are already answered there by the second caller. But one thing that has come up, I sent out a broadcast saying I was going to have a medium on the show, and I got an overwhelmingly positive response. But some people were afraid of the whole idea of having a medium on, and I'm deliberately saying medium versus channel because medium is the old-fashioned word for the same thing. And
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, can you answer this one? Why do people fear channeling, and can you relate to the fact that they have fears?
Personally, I've found in giving people readings is the number one fear they have is they think you can read minds. And I must point out that there's a huge difference between reading minds and channeling. Because one, you're able to get inside the thoughts of another person, and the other is you're asking questions from a higher source for the person's best interest. I don't see an instance where reading minds is really beneficial to another person unless somebody's really stuck on something, or you want to get to the root of a problem. And I don't read minds. And it's also a little bit of what we were talking about earlier when you were talking about the media portraying mediums as
Hollywood movies
as these negative entities that are just going to come in and control. You're going to lose control of your body, your finances, everything, and just strike fear into people about death being a very scary and unpromising place, whereas it's not.
But it sells films.
Exactly. So I don't see we'll see a change in that for a while, but certainly I think mainstream people need to be more understanding of what a channel actually does, and I think we are getting there. I see more and more people being more open to it, coming to the psychic fairs, seeking guidance, and they're blown away by the advice that you get, and they know it's not because you're reading minds or because you're channeling the devil, as some people think.
Yeah, but the people you're going to get at a psychic fair are already kind of in alignment, because they're at the door there. Right. So there are a lot of people, though, that wouldn't go to these things. And I think, I've thought about this many times. I'm kind of lucky because dreams straddle religion and spiritual fields, because dreams were famously interpreted in the Bible by Joseph. And so therefore they're accepted that some dreams are messages from God, which is what I would say they are too. But other things aren't. And I find that kind of strange, that the idea can be a source of conflict with religious upbringing, because in the Bible, in John 14:12, and I put this quote in my book because of it, Jesus says that anyone who believes is capable of performing the miracles he performed, and many people will do even greater ones than he did. So, it's right there, and it's not even interpreted by some other person in the Bible. It's not another book. It's actually one of the few sayings of Jesus that actually makes it into the Bible. So I don't understand how it becomes a religious conflict, but yet I can relate to it, because for what got me into this field, and I'm sure you probably know some of this, was suddenly being able to see spirits, and I didn't know why that happened or anything. And so I went and sneaked off to a medium, even though I used to think they were all charlatans, and I didn't, I really thought the worst of them. They were worse than the devil, really, because they were preying on people on the earth plane. And that was my belief. I was completely wrong, of course. But, I even though I did that, I had to overcome the fact that I was brought up in a very religious country, Catholic Ireland, and it just didn't, the two didn't go together. So it really was a struggle. So I can relate to it, and I can relate to the massive conflict. So you want to believe in it, but at the same time, if you do, you think you're damned. And, that took me quite some time. a lot of research into how the Bible was changed over time. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing, but the fears are a real thing for people, so it's an important one. So back to some of my questions. When did you realize you could channel?
For me, it wasn't really realizing I could channel. It was more realizing that other people couldn't. I do remember a specific instance when I was 3 years old, and I used to astral travel a lot when I was a child, more so than I do now. And I was having a conversation with my guides on the astral planes, and I was looking at my body. And mind you, I wasn't in bed or sleeping or anything. I was actually simultaneously playing with my friends who were also around the same age as me, and my sibling, Carl, who was 2 years older. And I was looking at them, and I was asking my guides, I was like, how come they're not up here too? And they're, they can't channel, or they don't know how to channel yet. And so for me, it was more of an awakening that not everybody is like me.
Yeah.
Rather than, hey, I can do this.
That's interesting. Because I know a lot of people ask me all the time, especially when I say from the dreams, you've got a channeling ability and it works this way. The next question is always going to be, how can I develop that? What can I do? Do you have any advice for people that, like, how can they tell if they are a channel? I mean, obviously the dreams are a big way of telling, but are there other ways to tell? And then what can you do? Because I noticed your advice for our second caller was very specific for her, saying this is what you need to do. And it dovetailed into what changes she had already made in her life. So I suspect there's many ways to make this work.
There are many ways. And again, you're right there. Everybody is specific. What works for one person might not necessarily work for another. But I am told that if you are able to align your chakras and balance your life and open your heart and be more open, that you're more inclined to hear messages and to feel messages. And some people describe this as intuition. And really what they're doing is they're channeling an answer. And to be aware, differentiate between your own intuition and your guardian angels giving you advice, or even your higher self giving you advice. It's not very difficult to do, because you do feel them in different places of your body. And if you're really in tune with your body, you can tell what you're actually feeling rather than maybe just discomfort.
Okay. That's interesting. And you say balance your chakras, and I know a lot of people are going to say, what the heck is a chakra? But in saying that, we've met somebody who's become a friend, Christine, at the psychic fairs, and
yes,
she has what do you call the bowl that she has?
Singing bowl.
A singing bowl. I was going to say that, and I thought I had it wrong. And Sandy, my partner, got an aura photograph taken, and it showed how her chakras were and which were out of balance. And then Christine worked on her with the singing bowl, and she got the photograph taken again, and everything was balanced.
Yes.
It was we were all amazed, including Christine. So that was interesting.
It's amazing the work you can do just by being balanced. You don't have to put forth any more mental energy than you would have before, but you feel lighter, you feel more open. And that's the key to channeling, is openness.
Okay, yeah. Easy said. Now, since it is a dream show, can you tell me some of the dreams you've had that told you you're a channel? Now, obviously, you're a channel, but you're still going to have dreams, I imagine, from time to time, because they're going to be linking something else with your dreams or with your channeling and saying, use the two together. Yes.
Well, I probably have dreams about being a channel or channeling. More so lately, channeling for specific people. I'll dream about that person, and then I'll have symbols of channeling in the dream. And it's usually symbols like cell phones, cell phone towers, being online. Like one of the dreams I had recently, and I think I actually had you interpret this for me a while ago, was a dream where I was online on Facebook, instant messenger, which I think I probably used too much. But and then I was going to bed, and I had a dream where I unplugged the router and the internet, and yet the Facebook instant messenger, I was still getting messages coming through, and I couldn't figure out in the dream. I couldn't figure out why I was still getting messages when I had unplugged everything, and then I remembered that I didn't need to have anything plugged in. Yeah,
that's a good one. It shows the distinctiveness is you've got a special connection that's not physical. You didn't have a physical device plugged in. Yeah, nice dream. I had a dream myself where I was emigrating to Canada. This is a 25-year-old dream. Emigrating to Canada, and I showed my passport to the customs official, and he came back to me and he said, all we can offer you is a job in the music industry with a salary of $600,000 a year. And in the dream, I'm like, I don't even work in the music industry. This is bizarre. What do I say to this guy? And of course, the music industry, music in dreams represents channeling, and the 600,000 was telling me that this getting into developing my channeling ability would really pay dividends. I mean, that's what the huge salary is about. And the 6, of course, at the start of it all is saying it'll get me on the dharmic path. So I have to plug dreams in here. But but here I am many years later and still asking you for advice. And I have to admit, when I do a really complex dream, one that maybe has a very sensitive subject matter, that I wouldn't cover on the radio and so on, I quite often would ask you to read the dream and validate it.
Yes.
And you cheat a lot. I always say it's cheating because you ask your guides. And before I'd even give you the dream, you say, they say it's about.
Yes.
And what we have discovered is they don't always cover what the dream is about. They might cover something else because they'll be like, well, the dream tells you this and here's some more information.
And this is why.
So I have to pull you in sometimes and say, no, stick to the dream, stick to the dream. And I find that really good. It's really a good sounding board for me.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the thing about the music industry, because that's probably the number one symbol that I have in a dream that I'm a channel, is singing on stage to mass crowds.
All right, okay.
And that's one good one to look for if you're wondering if you can.
yeah. We've had dreams recently sent in to us where somebody was singing on stage. And part of that could be reality. It could be saying you're going to be channeled for mass crowds. I mean, you do lots of one-to-ones. But so maybe you're going to start doing talks and so on for people, which I know you want to do, or would have no problem with doing. But of course, I have to say you're in college, you've gone back to college and
yes.
That's taken up all your time. So
nearly finished, thankfully.
But you've always been drawn to the caring field, nursing, working in nursing homes and working with boys and girls schools and things like that. Why? 1 minute.
I enjoy being around people that are, I hate to use the phrase, but I will, misunderstood. Because I don't think people are really misunderstood. I think maybe nobody is asking the right questions. And I do definitely use my ability within those fields. And I become closer to people, and it's an enjoyable job.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'll just see, I'm sure we have time for one more. You told me before that you used to get symbols, but you asked for it to change. Can you quickly explain that? So, because it intrigues me, because obviously channeling works differently and then even differently for the same person.
Yes, about 6 months ago, I asked one of my friends who can channel get symbols, and I was like, well, I'd kind of like to get symbols. And so I asked my guys to give me symbols, and they did, but I wasn't receiving the messages anymore.
Oh, okay.
And so it was difficult to tune out the symbols and the messages, and so I had to switch back.
Okay, so our credit the music, I can hear the music. So that's it for this week's show. Thanks for everybody for listening and for calling in. And all the details and Heidi's details will be on the website. Thanks.
Thank you.